LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. An LDG desktop tuner works automatically with nearly any station and up to 1,000 watts. LDG power tuners are ideal for portable and mobile use as they consume almost no current and can be powered by internal batteries that last up to a year. LDG tuners are backed by our 2-year, fully transferable warranty and our legendary customer service, the best in the industry. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, hello and welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. This is episode 344. My name is Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. And on this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about tower fees. Interesting story came up. We're going to talk about that. We'll also be talking about some dream activations. Is there a dream activation for you? We'll talk about it. Our friends that are joining us in the chat, we will get your responses as well. Of course, Sidecar Steve is with me today, and we're going to be talking about a few couple ties. You still got a little leftover dance in you, do you?
Yeah, that music is stuck in my head.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning.
Evening, whatever time you're watching.
Yeah, good day. Good day.
Good
all.
day, sir.
So a couple of things came up, and we're going to comment on them, and I want to play you guys a clip as well. So hang with me. This will be one of those nights or days or afternoons when you are engaged with us. We need your opinions and thoughts on this. And I'm going to start off here, and everybody has the ability to not talk at all if they don't want to. First, I want to mark a little bit of history here, Steve, because what is really cool is that tonight at midnight, St. Louis will lift the mask mandate, and for the first time in 2 years, I can go to work next week with the option indoors. You know, we were pretty much mandated indoors because the city of St. Louis has said, you know, cases are down, thumbs are up, and you guys now have the options. And so we're playing this sort of, let's see how there's a coding system. I guess it's like with air or quality or heat index, but we're going to have some sort of way of measuring cases. And if they hit a certain level, then maybe we need to put our mask back up for a little bit. But pretty much here in my city, we're good to go, and we're below that threshold. And a new ordinance has come in. So I'm super excited about that because this has been one of those shows that document a journey. And it is the intersection of life and amateur radio. And a big part of our life for over 2 years now has been...
I still remember when we first started talking about it.
That's right.
A couple of years ago, we were bringing up the who was it, Hopkins?
Johns Hopkins, and we were catching the count.
John Hopkins, when it was first started, and it was kind of like, what is this thing? And I look at these cases going up, and I kind of remember that a little over 2 years ago when we started messing around with that. And our mask mandate here for the state of Washington is ending the 11th, which is this coming Friday. So
awesome.
We're about a week behind you. So,
awesome. It's perfect. I mean, we did go the wrong way, and then we kind of snapped back and got it under control. And I think we're just going to live this way for a bit. And I just plan on, if I have a cold, if I'm feeling sick, I'm going to put my mask on. I don't want to miss work about it because they were like, stay home. You feeling bad? Stay home. I'd rather wear a mask and not get you sick with anything.
Exactly. And I think that's going to help out a lot. It's more people are, I was just talking with a coworker just yesterday down at one of our generation plants. And from those pictures I sent in yesterday night or last night from my trip to down to the state line, and it was he was sick, his family was sick, but they just kind of had some kind of bug that kind of went through the family. He did all kinds of testing at the local clinic, and everything came up negative, but he stayed home. And that was the thing. And a lot more people are starting to stay home. And when they're not feeling good, employers are kind of enforcing it a little bit or encouraging it. It's like, you don't feel well, stay home and don't bother coming into work, where it used to be we would just tough it out. And have a coworker that's, hawking up a lung or something like that. And like,
Yeah.
dude, go back home. And no, I can't. I don't have any time off or this or that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think in the end, it's going to be a good thing.
Hey, Steve-O, give me a pinch more of your audio. I don't know, maybe a couple 3 dB tops or so.
There we go. I'll give you a little more.
Beautiful.
Dude.
Thank you. That's Sherry in HR chiming in here. Sherry in HR.
I'll see you in a bit, Sherry.
Sherry, we'll see you down there very soon. Another bit of topic that came at yesterday was the oddest thing in the world to me, and it was the leadership at QRZ pulling the contacts for the Russian ham radio operators. And then there was some odd post from their leadership saying, some people, half of the people, this is to paraphrase, because it was taken down. And I believe it was taken down because the people got pissed off and the membership got pissed off. And I think that moves people to go, wait a minute. So anyway, it was basically the position of seemingly supporting Ukraine. Of course, we all do. We're supporting Ukraine, but we also know as individual human beings that the people of Russia and ham radio operators did not invade Ukraine. Putin did. And so the fact that you would kind of take that off the board and a part of your service was odd. And I think people really were like, dude, what is this about? And before long, Steve, it was gone. Like, I think the people,
hours, it was gone.
Power to the people, y'all. Power to the people. You have spoken. And what I felt from the jump was a ridiculous deal. Before I got too offended by it, it was changed. Your thoughts on that, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Well, I read the post, and it was right off the bat. Fred, the owner of QRZ, said, I'm going to piss off half the people here, and I'm going to make the other half happy. So he realized it right from the beginning. He's going to step into a can of worms. And he basically, to paraphrase what happened, he banned Russian call signs in QRZ for lookups. And it's like, why? What's that going to accomplish? And why did you, go down that road? So it created a stir. Many non-U.S. amateurs reacted badly. If you go into their forums, you're going to see a lot of locked posts, because it just kind of went off the rails. And I can understand, Fred's emotion, but on the other hand, it's the hypocrisy, in my opinion, is that a little over a year ago, he said, if this is going to be a political free environment and we're not going to tolerate any political discussion, and that's great. We're going to keep it related to the hobby. And I applauded that. And then he comes out here and makes this huge political statement. And I'm there, I don't know what the background is. It was like, it wasn't right. We don't need to be, yes, we are upset at the leadership in Russia, but why take it out on our fellow amateurs?
Yeah.
That all we want to do is just chat on the radio and, enjoy our hobby here. And I think that was I don't think it was a good move by Fred, and maybe he came to his senses, and emotions were running high, and the post is gone, and we'll put it behind us. Unfortunately, a lot of people won't. Other than that, after this, it's we'll move on, and so yeah, you can look up Russian call signs now on QRZ.
Thank
like
goodness.
It used to be.
Yeah, and to put it in the right direction. I remember a great program director of mine in Philadelphia basically told me, stay away from religion and politics because you lose half your audience just like that. And nobody wants to do that. You can keep your opinions. I will let you know that the team here is in support of Ukraine, as evidenced by our a simple gesture of showing our antenna analyzers. Rig Expert is made in Ukraine. So anyhow, that was just one thing. Another topic we want to shift into today, Steve. I did a story for Amateur Radio Newsline. They kindly asked me to do that. And they asked me from time to time to do emergency communication type stories. So I want to share something with you guys and get your opinion. We're going to put up a a poll. I'm going to try this for the first time, Steve. I don't know if it's going to work. But listen to the story. It's only 1 minute, if you will. And then we'll see if this poll works out, and we'll get your ideas on what you think. Check it out. Hams in Michigan who provide emergency communications have told local officials that because they rely on the use of a tower located inside a national forest, they may now face a new fee of $1,400 to operate. According to a report in the Manistee News, the Manistee County Amateur Radio Operators Club received notice from the U.S. Forest Service that there might be a fee for their use of the tower. Forest Service officials announced in December that they have proposed such fees for any communications users, including cellular phone providers, maintaining permanent equipment on Forest Service land. The agency has reopened the public comment period on the proposal through March 31st. Comments can be posted online at federalregister.gov. The American Radio Relay League has filed comments asking for ham radio operators to be exempt from the fee. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Christian Kudnick, K0STH. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to create this poll. For some reason, I'm having an issue here. Steve, why don't you go ahead first and give me your thoughts on this, and then I'll chime in. I want to ask the people in the chat because I can't get the poll to go. I tried. I thought we had a good thing going. But put yes or no. Put right now yes or no if you're here live with us. Our podcast listeners, you could send a message if you'd like to. We invite you to come here every week for our live recording of the podcast. You can be in the chat room and share your thoughts as well. Yes or no, guys. Should the Manistee County Amateur Radio Operators Club have to pay the U.S. Forest Service a fee to use the tower? Yes or no? Steve, your thoughts?
No, they shouldn't. But unfortunately, the Forest Service, and I'm going to irritate a bunch of people with this. The Forest Service is going to do it. It's they have a mandate from Congress, and this goes back a few years ago. And Congress said, "Hey, you guys need to start charging for services." And most communication sites that I've been involved with that are on Forest Service land the land is leased to a building, someone that leases it, and they put up a building and everything. And then the Forest Service charges fees. And so they're trying to recoup fees by mainly the commercial environment. But then they go, well, we gotta do everybody, and amateur radio is part of it. And it's just not limited to the Forest Service. Here in the state of Washington, our DNR is doing the same thing. But they're going even one step further. And I don't know if they've implemented, but when I've talked with the manager, one of the managers in DNR, they were going to choose and pick which amateurs were going to have access to the site. So it was like if you had 2 or 3 groups that had repeaters on a particular site in DNR land, they were going to choose which ones get to stay and the other ones get the boot. Mm-hmm. And or pay the fees. And theirs was I think $2,500 a year versus $1,400. But going back to the Forest Service, this goes back to Congress mandating to the agencies that you have to start collecting fees. And if you noticed, the FCC put out the proposed rulemaking that we're going to have to pay $35 for our license every time you upgrade. So, and then I think renew. So it's a big thing. It's not the Forest Service's issue. They're being told to do it. And the rationale is going to be, well, we got roads to maintain. We have all this other stuff that needs to be maintained to support these comm sites. And they're just looking for an easy buck because a cell site on a mountaintop is going to generate $70,000 to $100,000 a year. So, yeah, they're going to go cha-ching and bring it in. So, unfortunately, we're going to get swept up into it. Hopefully, if we had congressional support, and that's where it needs to go because that's where it started. It started in Congress. We need to lobby our representatives and say, hey, we need to have exemptions for nonprofit or non-commercial entities like amateur radio. So it'll be an interesting one.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. I think $1,400 is too much. I think that's perfect for a cellular, which are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. They should carry the burden, I think, of that. I think a reduced rate, something manageable for amateur radio. It is the Forest Park Service. I respect everything you said, Steve, and I don't debate you at all. It's not a challenge at all. I just think that we probably could pay something, even if it's just one of those nominal fees. I know how hard it is for the amateur radio community to get funds, to keep their clubs together. It is the use. It's on, So I'm kind of torn. I think $1,400 is ridiculous, and no,
it is ridiculous.
Completely no.
Something reasonable would be $100 or something.
$100,
that
fine.
Way, and that way, it's like, okay, the hams are not getting a free ride, but we're kind of getting a subsidized ride, or we are paying, but we're not a money making operation like the cell company, and but this goes to all users up there. So. But I bet you, and I haven't looked into it, I bet you public safety is going to get a pass, that they're going to get or they'll have a reduced fee. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it must be reduced.
See how this shakes it.
And if they see it as being a public service, cool. I don't know. But you're accessing a tower. There needs to be some sort of, you can't just have any old Joe Blow ham going up there where there's $1 million or whatever infrastructure up there. It is on the forest. Forest needs to be protected. Much lower than 1,400. I think that's ridiculous. 100 is all right. That way you got how many guys on the MCOM team, right? You got some people on the MCOM team. I know, guys. I'm not trying to bang us up, but I'm just thinking 1,400 is ridiculous, and that commercial use of that tower should carry all of that stuff. It should put swimming pools in for children. It should do much more for the park. But I'm not against the nominal fee for hams.
And one other thing to make it even more irritating, it's going to be $1,400 per transmitter. That's how they're going to regulate it.
Jesus.
So if you have a linked radio system, or you have, say, a 440 repeater or 2 meter repeater, and maybe a 600 or 900 meg repeater, that's 3 repeaters on a site. And if you have RF linking, that's some more transmitters. It's going to be $1,400 per transmitter. So, yeah, they're going to, and the bureaucrats and the people sitting behind the desk, they don't know the difference between amateur radio versus public safety, or some taxi cab service, or some GMR repeater, or GMRS repeater, excuse me. It's going to be the transmitters, and that's because they can count that. Receivers, they don't seem to be too worried about that. It's just the transmitters. So they'll just go out and they'll start counting antennas, or they'll go in the building and they'll just start counting transmitters, and cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So it sucks, Ed, but it's not. What I'm trying to tell you is, I don't think our anger needs not go to the Forest Service, because they're just doing what they've been directed to do. The problem is with Congress, in my opinion. The Forest Service is going to get the brunt of it, but it needs to go even higher than them. So there is an open comment period. It's going to the end of this month, the March 31st. So get in there, make a comment on it. I like the license fees. I think it's going to be there. Now, whether it's $1,400 or $100 or anywhere in between, who knows what will end up happening, but the fee's going to be there, whether we like it or not. We got to pay to play.
All right, let's check in with a new member of our team. I want to introduce you to a new member of our team. Are you ready for this? You think you know him. You think you know this guy, but need to welcome to the team. This is Ed. Ed. Have you met Ed? Ed Abul. Ed Abuls is joining us in the control room, and he's been keeping a check. Look at it. There's Ed Abuls, everyone, a nice Irish gentleman helping us in. Everyone say hello to Ed.
Hello, Ed.
There's Ed. Welcome to the team, Ed Abuls.
Great to be here.
What's going on with?
Where I am.
with the I know you don't know where you are, but you're up on screen and live, and we're recording, so we've got that much. What did the chat seem to think about this question?
A resounding no in the chat. Or a few folks had commented on there being a lower fee, or if there's an existing agreement in place to be grandfathered in and honor that agreement. But overwhelming no in the chat with the regards to the fee on the tower.
All right. Can you believe he just came on the show and dropped a gummy in his mouth and did a report on the friggin' pole with a gummy in his mouth?
With a gum, and it's probably, well, look where his hands are.
Thank you to Ed.
Hands on the table.
Thank you, Ed. Ed Abul, everybody. Thank you for that. A couple notes before we get into it. We were going to talk a little bit about, and Tempus Fugit. We are already rolling through this show. But a couple of notes in history. Nikola Tesla, he's my favorite. Back this week in 1904, he writes in the Electrical World and Engineering an article titled "The Transmission of Electrical Energy Without Wires." Tesla was the man, in my opinion. Oh, we'll have to do a whole show on Tesla one day, but there you go. Also, this week in 1907, the first radio broadcast of a musical composition took place when Lee DeForest, I have a picture up here on my wall behind me of his tower that he brought to St. Louis for the World's Fair. Very important player. And it was a performance of Rossini's William Tell Overture, which Steve will hum for you in just a second, from the Telharmonic Hall in New York to the Brooklyn Navy Yard. So some important stuff happening back in 1904, 1907. These guys were grinding it out. We're sitting here talking about things. They were out there really doing it. They were doing it. So dream activations. Here's one that I put the call out on the social this week. I usually do talk about dream activations. What would you really love to do out there? So we're going to put a question out there to our chat. What would your dream activation be? Now, if you participated on the Facebook, thing, you probably don't have to, but you can. Everybody can go ahead and say, what would you be your favorite destination, your dream activation? Steve, do you have one?
Oh my God, I don't know. Well, that's the hard part. There's all kinds of places in the world I'd like to do an activation. But
Sherry, I didn't. I think I'll explain what activation is. No, he wanted to do an activation, but the activation is actually when we transmit our wires. Okay.
Yeah, I think it on the radio. No blue pills involved.
Yeah, nothing like that. So he just wants to do an activation. Yeah, an activation is not. No, it's not slang. It's not new slang for. Okay, see, it's hard. It's just hard. But you go to Hawaii. You're in the Pacific Northwest. All these beautiful things. Yeah, if we could go anywhere today, where would we go to activate?
That would be.
You need some more time. Did he give you a gummy?
I'd just like to be I'd be like some island that just right there on the white sandy beach, and just some nice Mai Tais, and just chatting on the radio and getting drunk as all get up.
It's really getting weird. This whole thing is starting to get weird. Let's bring Ed in. Ed Abuls. He's new to the show.
All he cares about is gummy bears. So, Ed, he's just going to be, have a bag of it.
Ed, tell me about your activation. Would you have a special activation, a dream activation?
A dream activation would be somewhere in near Moab, Utah, I guess, somewhere in southeast Utah. It's on my bucket list to go to that part of the country.
I hear about Moab is spectacularly beautiful.
It is freaking awesome.
I'd like to go to there.
That'd be a good time.
I would like to go to there. Well, thank you. And everybody in the chat, go ahead and tell us where you would like to have your activation. And we can go and take a look at some of the results that we put out on Facebook, Steve. Every week we put out a question to get the people engaged. And I wanted to know why. If you could operate from anywhere in the world, anywhere on the planet, where would it be and why? And I asked to leave their call sign, of course, and we would talk about it. Brian says he always dreamed of island hopping in Tahiti and activating multiple
with you, brother.
islands on the air. See, there you go. He
There
says
we go.
it's such a beautiful and exotic place to visit. Thomas said Midway. He's a Whiskey Kilo 8 Mike. Of course, I asked him why. I'm not sure.
The history there, Midway.
Looks like Bob would like to go to the Caribbean, work there, warm weather. It's not crowded. They speak English. Former British Honduras. Plus, no, what is that? Extraction treaty with the U.S. That's a winner chicken dinner. Thank you, Bob. Larry, what? I don't even know what this is right here. Angkor Wat in what? Cambodia. So he wants to go to Cambodia. That's a heritage site. And he says it's amazing. Ginger, he said, or she said, I'm not sure which, I'd connect to all the old antennas in Antigua. I'd be talking to hams and operating shortwave stations, playing reggae for the world. Antigua is beautiful. I love the Caribbean. Friend of Ed's, I imagine. Here, he's ready to listen to reggae and just kick back. James says, any of the miles of local snowmobile trails in the winter and from the kayak in the summer, he would combine things that he enjoys the most. In a way, I get to share that experience with others over the air. So there you go. That's a cool thing. And moving along, Jamie says, all the high peaks in the Adirondack. That's a word that's hard for me at this time of day. In the mountains, New York State. They're absolutely beautiful. And being able to tie in his love for the North Country and amateur radio would be a dream come true. And Lynn, let's see if I'm allowed to operate there. Diego Garcia.
There you go.
Isolated from the rest of the world and probably a rare DX entity. Now, I don't know if people are putting their comments in. Let's bring Ed in. Ed Abuls. Ed, do we have any information coming in from our friends in the chat where they might like to activate? Uh-oh. He's muted. He's muted himself.
Muted himself. I see one on the floor of the Grand Canyon.
It's an old studio habits that I'm finding hard to break.
That's okay.
Keep that talk back mic muted.
It's okay.
Otherwise, the client will get pissed off about you guys talking about things in the control room. Ben KX4TQ, he said, just make sure that the antenna is rigid.
So Sherry, let me explain. Let me get back to you on that one. She may actually have a point.
And he wants to do a lighthouse, the top of a lighthouse activation.
Oh, that'd be excellent. That'd be really cool.
Mark says my dream activation involves Snoop Dogg. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't get it.
Okay. I dig it. He wants to maybe rap at the halftime show at the Super Bowl, something like that.
John Brace wants to activate from the Grand Canyon. Getting out might be a bit of a challenge. James N, his dad's house in Florida. Yes, he wants to do that at his dad's house. And Adam KM7N, the Remo Test Island.
Okay.
Is where he would like to do his dream
Adam.
vacation.
Nice.
All right, go back over. Yeah, we got a few. Thank you for that. Butch, let's see. The Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, because my great uncle was there 6 times with Operation Deep Freeze with the Navy in the 50s and 60s. Plenty of stories there, and he's always wanted to go. Johnny Vans. 2 to 3 big mountains close to home, within an hour drive. That'd be enough for him. David says Frying Pan Towers, 32 miles in the Atlantic Ocean. Rare grid square. Excellent. Robert, Wake Island. I was there briefly about 20 years ago, and it's number 34 on the most wanted DXCC list. We occasionally send someone there for work, so maybe I'll get a chance to go. Ron, he says, I guess I hear a different drummer. I work so hard to be on the air right here at home. So his dream activation is at his home. So, okay, that's fine with me. That'll work. That'll work for me.
I like Alan.
Alan, a picnic table along the stream in Yellowstone at sunrise. Beautiful. He recently went for the first time with his family at sunrise the Peace Beauty and a couple of good conversations would be a perfect way to spend the day. So there you go, man. That's pretty good.
The
What?
North Korea one would
Yeah.
be kind of cool to
North
be
Korea.
to be the operator of the number one DX entity.
You'd be tired.
Is,
You'd be so
from
tired.
North Korea.
Mm.
You
Yeah, we
would
almost got a
be-
chance at that a couple of years ago. There was a team, or maybe it was a lie. I can't remember now. Maybe it was a hoax. There was a word
There
going
was-
around
there
that
was a-
it was a
yeah.
hoax in there, and I think they've tried to put some things together. And there was a guy that said, "I'm going to be
the
in
guy
there."
that was in Marty was involved. It was Marty OH. Oh shoot, I'm brain fading on Marty's call, but a very famous DX operator, and it was, if anyone could do it, he would do it or get a chance to do it. And oh man, there's a lot of doing it. And I'm
Yeah,
HR. I'll see you in a bit, Sherry.
you had to bring. I thought Sherry wasn't on the button. These are
And,
fines. We're going to have to pay these fines. Oy vey.
So you would be the most popular in amateur radio if you were an operator there at in North Korea. But it would be interesting. It could be a dream activation if things went well. But I don't think it'll ever happen.
Well, yeah, it's tough, man. It's a crazy town right now. It would be super excellent, cool, and fun, but we know things are a little nutty. Steve, you want to hang out here? We've got a club or you can go to the chat, whatever you like to do, but we got a guest. So let's button up and at least pretend that the HR doesn't call us on occasion for saying things that could be misconstrued. Just comes right through here like the hotline. But let's go over here. Our club feature this week, we're going to talk to Michael. Hello to Michael. He's Kilo Echo 8 Alpha Quebec Whiskey. And he's got an interesting club. We're gonna talk to him about what's going on with the Ford Amateur Radio League. Michael, what's going on with you? Thanks for stopping by today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your show. Happy to talk about the Ford Amateur Radio League, also known as the Tin Lizzy Club.
Oh, cool. I like that. Is that a play on
like that.
Thin Lizzy, the band, or no? Probably not.
The Model T was sometimes referred to as the Tin Lizzy, and we are a club for Ford employees and other people in the area. We're part of the Ford Employee Recreation Association, and so our club is mostly Ford Motor Company employees.
Excellent. Now, we were just talking, Steve and I were talking about there's several different clubs. Now, can you be a member after you leave the club? Because we know that here there's a club for Boeing. And once you retire, that's it for you. You're kind of out. Is it the same for you guys?
No, actually,
good.
several of our retirees are still in the club, and we have community members who don't work at Ford, but yeah, we try and hold lots of events throughout the year, and I mean, just down the road, we have the GM Amateur Radio Club as well, so yeah, lots of corporations have clubs.
That's the one Steve likes, is the GM club. He saw your Ford. I said, hey, I drive an F-150, and it's funny. You got the different likes and those sorts of things, even in your vehicles. Tell me a little bit about the history of the club. What's good there?
Yeah, so right now we have about 30 members or so, and we try to hold some events throughout the year. One of our biggest ones is Field Day. We partner with another club, the Livonia Amateur Radio Club, and we do a field day operation. For the past 5 years I've been with them, they've been partnering with them. In the past, we've done the Detroit Maker Fair, which was held at the Henry Ford Museum every year. And so we would hold an amateur radio booth and show people different aspects of the hobby, which is always a lot of fun. Back in 2018, we did a special event, K0P, on Belle Isle, which is a small island off of Detroit, which was commemorating the first one-way communication for police officers in 1928. And back for the solar eclipse party in 2017, one of our members set up a station outside the lab with their plug-in hybrid Fusion and powered the whole radio station off of that and did a demonstration for everyone, which was really cool. And back in 2015, right before I joined the club, they actually got to do amateur radio ISS contact with the Dearborn Public Schools. So we try and be active and help new people get in the hobby. We'll hold licensing classes or licensing sessions for anyone who's interested. And we try to have a lot of fun.
Steve, you have a question for Michael.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for being here, Mike. So you said you had 30 members so far in the club?
Yeah, more or less. We have a an email list, and we try to add anyone who has interest. We actually, internal to Ford, we have a WebEx Teams chat, and there's a lot of members. People sometimes pop in there and say, "Oh, I have a ham license," and we try and engage with them there as well. And you had our website up a second ago. We try and have a club meeting once a month and have different speakers, and a lot of those presentations are actually listed on there. And so it's a great depository for all that neat info.
So what helps make the club go? I mean, what are some of the things that the club likes? Is there an emphasis on, say, field day, or are there digital programs? What seems to be the top interest in the club?
I would think Field Day is probably our most popular event. We do actually, so for Field Day, we have a Go box. We have an FT991 radio, and we have like a G5RV and a lot of other gear. And actually, one of the benefits of the club is members can check out this gear, say they don't have something at home or they want to go portable or something, then they can borrow it, which is a nice perk. And every December, the club tries to like get together at a restaurant. Throughout this past couple years now, we've actually been meeting online just because most of us were working remotely anyways, so it didn't make sense to drive into Dearborn, Michigan when we weren't even working there.
Go ahead, Steve. I know you had a question queued up.
So how's the support from management, from the Ford management team?
We have a couple, I think, people who are sort of higher up who have ham licenses. They don't really, I guess, engage very often. We used to have our repeater, I think, back before I was at Ford on one of the Ford buildings, but then it moved to one of the local hotels, and actually we're currently waiting to try and get power back on because it was shut down for a while. So we're still trying to get access back for our repeater.
Oh, that's good. Well, excellent. Yeah. So at various clubs. So the utility I work for, with there's a lot of engagement from leadership of the company to help support the club, and more or less each employee club has different goals and purposes. And in the case of our club, it's more on the ARES side of things for e-coms, but mainly to provide more communication services between the utility, the state, county, even though most of the time the radios are not used, but there has been times where drills have been done where we've lost all our phone systems. How are we going to talk to state EOC, how we're going to do this? And then offloading some of our mundane traffic, like, hey, this service center needs these supplies, but we don't want to tie up the radio, the corporation's radio frequencies because they're too busy doing switching and orders and everything else. So every club, company club has some different roles, and I'm just kind of wondering how your club fits into the Ford umbrella, and if the management is on board. In our case, we're part of the business continuity plan, so we're a little bit deeper into it versus what it sounds like with Ford, which is fine. They're giving you support, and at one point you had the repeater on one of the Ford buildings, and hopefully you can get it back. I would imagine. Never been to Detroit. I think there's probably some high rise in downtown Detroit that has a big Ford logo on it.
Yeah, our headquarters is in Dearborn, Michigan, and there's a couple other buildings that we have that are a little taller. as part of the FARA group, the Ford Employee Recreation Association, I think it's one of the nice benefits of working for Ford. There's lots of different groups, and so employees can interact and meet new people there and have a lot of fun things to do. So that's always something to say, why should I work for Ford? Well, we have all these different groups that you can participate in.
That's great.
And then, of course, we represent Ford through our volunteer activities. I think in the past we've volunteered with a bike ride through an organization called PEAC. I wrote down, but basically they want to help people with disabilities learn to ride bikes, and they modified bikes for them, and it's a outreach group. And so we've done a few communication services for that in the past, and so I think that's kind of our role within Ford.
Cool. I want to give out your website. You've got some good information there. Great links. Posted those in the chat as well. It's Kilo 8 UnitedTangoTango.org. A very interesting club. Check it out. They've compiled some information there. Could be very useful for you. Michael, thank you so much. Kilo Echo 8 Alpha Quebec Whiskey. Safe travels on your trip, and thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Love chatting with you, and hope to talk to you again soon.
All right, 7-3,
Thanks
Michael.
for being here.
Thanks so much, man.
Take care, Michael.
All right, I like that. Well, let's go over here. We'll come back and talk about that. I want to let you guys know. Oh, girl. Now, Sherry walked away so I can put on the tunes. I'll tell you about. I want to thank. Well, yeah, I want to thank Chris, Whiskey 5 Charlie United. He's a new sustaining member. If you believe in supporting the content you enjoy and you get value out of this program, we welcome you to check out our sustaining member program at 100wattsandawire.com. Make sure you get your 100-watt ID. You can get that as well, and you may even be a reviewer for the 30 days peer review system. It's all there, like Ragu. Ragu is not a sponsor, unfortunately, and I'd like to have Ford as a sponsor. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I do drive one and all, so I mean, just saying. Just putting it in your ear, Michael. Oh, damn. I didn't mean I was putting it in his ear. It's just kind of, something came out like that. I don't know what happened. Something happened. That was not good. Okay, so.
Well, if Ed would share his gummies, we wouldn't be in HR's office so often, but he's hoarding the gummies.
Yeah, Ed Bulls is here. It is before you know it, St. Patrick's Day will be here. I'm feeling he's a good Patrick. St. Patrick's Day Irish lad. I don't know if that's what they would call you, Ed, but there you go. If you have a question, you can put Q in front of it, and Ed will kindly pull those out. We'll try to get to those in order. People have submitted through the form. You can submit your questions pre-show through the form. And here, if you're in a chat with us today, put a Q in front of it. You can ask about anything in the world. It doesn't matter. This is the intersection of life and amateur radio. I have a quick question for you, Ed. It seems that the gummies that you are taking in have no limit. There's no limit to those. Shouldn't they be monitored a little bit? I don't know. Should you take it easy, Ed?
Well, these are medicinal gummies, so they're
Yeah, sore back.
Doctor's orders. Glaucoma.
Ed Abools, everybody. Ed Abools. So very good. Again, question, put a Q in front of it, and we will get to that. This is the portion of the program where we take your questions compiled from all of our social media outlets. You can find your people at Discord, and you can find your people over on Facebook as well. We take the questions, take the things from the forum. We take your cues here from the chat, and here we go. Steve, are you ready?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Let's see what we can do. Hanging antennas. This is the topic from Tom, Kilo Delta 9, Foxtrot Papa Charlie. Now, he wants to know, should I launch or drone a line over a tree or rent a lift to arrange pulleys? So to kind of put this into context, should I just throw a line over the tree or should I actually get up there and install a pulley system? What says you, Steve-O?
Well, does your tree need a little trimming? then I would rent a lift, and then you can.
Yeah, manscaping. Just to let the team know here that manscaping, it gets a little.
So if your tree needs a little trimming, you can go rent a lift and then pull a pulley up there. But you can launch with the potato gun launcher or slingshot fishing line routine. The drone would be kind of cool, but got to be careful with that one. And so
benefits to
I
the
would do the
pulley.
lift.
Benefits to the
that
pulley.
way you can install a pulley up there and kind of get the tree trimmed at the same time, and then clean the windows in the upper floors of your house if you have a 2-story house. So you can use a lift for a lot of things.
Steve,
Hey, honey, I got this lift. I'm gonna
wash
clean
your
the
windows. That's what you do. I know.
Oh,
That's
by
what
the
you
way,
do.
I'm gonna hang a few pulleys.
So the benefits of the pulley over the rope over the tree, access mostly, is that the main benefit of a pulley?
Well, you reduce the damage of, to the tree. If you have a line that is going over the limb, it's going to rub. It's going to cause some damage to the tree. And then the line will deteriorate, and then your line snaps because it got worn down from rubbing, too much rubbing.
Everything sounds wrong. Sherry's, I just want to let you know, like, Sherry's got a direct line to the hotline here, and it just is like, ooh, that's
I'll go into
questionable.
Sherry's office right when we're done.
Your office is adjacent to
Right.
Sherry's office in HR.
Yeah.
Oh, if you have a question, put a Q in front
like
of
the
it.
hotel rooms, there's a door.
There's a
between
door
her
right there.
office
Yeah, they
and
don't
mine
even
that
want to.
I don't have to go out and in.
They
That's
don't.
just. It's connecting rooms. It's like
They don't want him to have to walk into the hallway to see other people.
No.
It's just directly
No.
into that space.
sidecar. You're just out of control.
We got a question. Yeah, that's for sure. From Spike. He, let's see what we can do here with Spike. He asked, if you drop your gummies in 3 fingers of vodka and they dissolve, are they more effective? This one, we're going to go to Ed Abuls. Ed Abuls, a new guy on the crew here. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the gummies?
Mm-hmm. Oh, hang on, I got a gummy in my mouth. Ed Abuls. I prefer to drop my gummies in a few fingers of a nice bourbon. Not much of a vodka drink.
Yes.
Like that Kentucky, like them Kentucky corn squeezins.
Okay. Yeah. Everything just sounds different with you guys. What happened? Pardon me.
Think you need a gummy?
The gummies don't go down as smooth as you think. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. We will kindly get there for you. And thank you for your patience in dealing with us nitwits here today. There was a question last week, Steve, about a dipole for 80 through 10. And, you know, we gave some advice and we talked a little bit about that. Marco wrote, he's AA5ET, says, I enjoy listening to your podcast while cleaning my Airbnb, but wanted to make a comment. The question about the 80 through 10, there's an option you didn't mention, a ladder line doublet. And I had to write him back. I'm like, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And on the fly like this, we can't possibly, the antenna book is this thick, so it's sort of hard to, but good option, right, Steve?
Oh, that's a great option. It's the ideal dipole style antenna for multiband is the doublet. The reason I don't talk about it a lot is that, and in Marco's comment, he talked about the old Johnson Matchbox. You have to have a tuner that has a balanced output, and a lot of tuners don't have that. I mean, you can get it, but the majority of us don't have a tuner, or the radio tuner that's built in only has a coax output. So I kind of go on, what's common out there now. You can get away with putting a 4-to-1 balun just outside the house, and then go on ladder line. But yeah, Marco, you're right. I mean, that's the best antenna. But for the common setup that we have here today, and what the majority of us have as far as equipment and outboard tuners, you have to go. If you're going to do the doublet antenna, then you'll need a 4-to-1 Ballon to make that transition. But yeah, he's right. It's I didn't think about it off the top of my head. I was, okay, what does everybody have? Okay, G5RV, off center fed dipole, this or that. But yeah, if you can do it, a doublet antenna, cut for the lowest frequency, like a off center fed dipole, and feed it with ladder line and go straight into a tuner that has a balanced output, you'll be golden.
All right. Good deal. Thank you for that. Question from James. James asks, what's your 160 meter antenna? He's Kilo Golf 5 Lima Tango Lima. For me, I've got what they call it's a dipole, but both of the elements are made out of ladder line. NI4L, this is an antenna company that's part of our sustaining membership, meaning if you become a member, you get discounts to participating companies. And NI4L makes a damn strong antenna. Steve also makes an incredibly strong antenna because he pays attention to the nuance of the build. A lot of commercial places are building them, and they sort of come out and they're all right. When they come made by hand like that, oh man, that's good. But anyhow, NI4L, he does support our membership program, so I can say that he built me this big ass antenna. The Ballon is like this big, and it can hold like all sorts of power and that kind of deal. But the elements are made out of ladder line, and it does really well. In the contest, I did a quick stream, just me sitting in the room with any of the members of the Hamunity here, or the Hamley. You start in the Hamunity, and then as we get to know you, you become Hamley, you see. But I worked 25 states on this antenna during the 160 contest, and 2 provinces in Canada in about an hour's time. And, I just go down, and if I have you already, like if I do like the states, if I have Florida, I won't work Florida again. Doesn't matter. I just keep going. But that's what I use. And I would consider it a dipole, but it is a jacked up dipole. Steve, tell the man what you're using there for 160.
Homebrew double bazooka, inverted V at the 80-foot level on my tower. So yeah, I cranked one out last fall and got it hung on the tower. And unfortunately, I had some unique local interference that is pretty much wiping out a good chunk of 160. And it is. I'll have to send you a picture of it, and it moves. It's shifting, and it's just something relatively new. And it's man-made because it's there 24 hours a day. So, but I have a 160, just a bigger version of the 40 double bazooka I sent Christian. That's one big ass antenna.
Yeah, Mark is commenting. I'm subtly pushing Sidecar to start an antenna company. I'm in. I'm in. I can tell you guys, if you can get on the list, and he's actually got a list. This guy's got a friggin' list of people who want to build stuff. It's a short list though, because he doesn't build that many all the time. But man, he makes a strong antenna, and I would go into business with Steve-O on that. Ben had another question. Thanks to Ed Abuls, our new person here on the team. 45 ohm, 450 ohm or 300 ohm ladder line. I think it's 450. I think it's 450
or 600 is what you want.
Yeah, that's what's on mine. I don't know if it is 600. That's a great question. Thank you for that, Ben. I'm not positive. I'd have to ask Chris NI4L what he used, but it is a beefy antenna, and I've had to work on it a couple times. It started out as an NI4 antenna, and it's slowly become mine, wrapped around this Ballon, because I've exploded it. I've had to rebuild it. I didn't explode it on power. A storm came through and jacked it all up. All right, there's another question. Let's see what we can do. If you have a question, we'll try to bang them out here in our remaining moments. One that came in from the forum pre-show. Learning Morse code. Oh, what happened? Banging it out.
There you go.
Sorry, Sherry.
Come on, Sherry.
Everything is, they got to be real careful. Learning Morse code, not Morris code. It's actually written wrong here on the thing. Learning more code. Do other people struggle to learn it like me? Is it a brain thing? Kilo India 7, Juliet Oscar, Mike. Steve is pointing to himself. He thinks it's a brain thing.
I really struggled back in the day when we had to have it. So
Tell me more.
It was a tough one. It's like learning a new language. So
What a stupid son of a bitch.
JB.
thanks, Joe.
JB,
Thank Uncle
thanks.
Joe.
Uncle Joe, thanks. Just because you knew the code, huh? Leave him alone. Now, the curse words don't get problems. There's no problems with the curses.
Yeah.
It's innuendo. Time became my issue with learning the code. I learned it the wrong way, and I've said this many times in the past, but I learned how to send, didn't learn how to hear it. And by the time I got 13 letters into it, I realized I had done it wrong. And then I had this notion that I would somehow learn the code as my children were learning the alphabet. But do you know that the children learn the alphabet in like 20 minutes? There's a friggin' song that goes with it and everything else. And you're like, they know it already. And I missed that boat. So I think time for me, I knew I would always go and learn it if I needed to become a ham. I would definitely have done it. Wasn't required when I got my license, so I didn't. But I am fascinated by it. Ed Abul's joining us for his first time here. Do you know the code, and have you tried, dabbled in it, anything like that?
I've been slowly learning my code. I'm not fluent in it yet. And when I used to have an hour drive to the studio where I used to work, and I would put in a little audio lesson to listen to while I was driving to work, and that worked pretty well for a while. But then I don't spend as much time in the car anymore, so my Morse studies have sort of dwindled as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, understood.
Sean has a question there.
Sean has a question. When building an 80-meter off-center fed dipole, is a 4-to-1 voltage balun or a 4-to-1 current balun preferred? Thanks for your input. Look, I'm not giving anybody my input, Sherry. You understand? Sad. It's a sad.
Current balun, Sean. That's what you want.
Current balun, you said?
Mm-hmm. That's what you want. If you're building a Carolina Wyndham, then you want a voltage balun plus a 1-to-1 current balun. But for just a straight off-center fed dipole, 4-to-1 current balun is all you need.
If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. We'll try to bang it out quickly. If not, we will bring it back next week. From the forum, it's about mobile power. Is there a way to connect the radio to the battery so it only gives power when the car is running? Using the car's battery, is there only a way to not draw from that battery so you go ass out without any power because you drained it?
You can put in a relay that the contact that will take a switched voltage off the fuse panel. If you find a spot on your fuse panel that, like the car radio, that will provide 12 volts when the key is on, and then that would in turn energize the relay, which in turn would energize power from the battery to your HF radio. That's the simplest, easiest way to go.
All right, thank you for those questions. Remember, you can add it late here. A couple things to wrap up before we let you go. There's a Ham Fest. Friend wrote, Bruce, Kilo Golf 5, Yankee United Oscar. He says, hello, Christian. Here's the link to our club's Ham Fest, March 19th. Maybe we can get that in the chat real quick. We're raffling off a 7610. Participants don't need to be present for the drawing. We could use the help selling tickets if that's okay. We'll put your information out, and if that helps you, that's wonderful. So that's a Ham Fest for you to take a look at, W5QGG, I think. Also, QSO Today Ham Expo is happening March 12th and 13th. Tickets are 10 ducats. Speakers, presentations, builds, and lounges. QSO Today Ham Expo, giving a little love there to them. I don't think I can participate in that this time around. The first year of the pandemic was perfect. and then I got super busy. Some contests before we go here. The Ukraine RTTY Challenge, of course, has been canceled. That was to be, today and tomorrow. However, the ARRL International DX Contest running this weekend, running right now. So if you want to make some DX contacts even, this is the time to do that. Also, there's a Novice Rig Roundup happening this weekend through March 13th. I got time to mention that a very important man in Ethernet has passed away. David Boggs, Whiskey Alpha 3 Delta Bravo Juliet, is now a silent key. Worked for Xerox. He had one of those, what they call huge effing brains. And he's the co-founder of the Ethernet, which we all use. Sadly, Steve, he was only 71 years old. Any thoughts on him before we wrap?
Oh, that's what he has done is changed. We're living, his dream, and his our whole world is now connected. It's pretty much the standard of interconnecting of all devices is Ethernet based, and everything is getting there. I mean, in the industry I'm in, to now broadcasting and the concert world. I mean, Livewire and stuff like that, AEX 67, 67, the Dante format. And this is just in the professional sound where, guys, all you do is run Ethernet cable and boom, there it is. You don't need to have a snake going out from the soundboard up to the stage. You just an Ethernet cable handles it all. It's
128 channels from the stage to the front of house over a single Cat 6 cable. It's unbelievable.
Exactly. I mean, it's just what he has done and what he contributed to, where we are today and where we're going tomorrow. And that's just only a small portion. We're only talking just, live sound and obviously our whole internet and computing. And it's just freaking amazing. Just absolutely amazing. And so thank you.
Yep. Thank you for that contribution. A couple things that you need to know about. We do a live stream for our Sunday Evening Net. Sunday Evening Net and live stream happens here on this channel, Sundays at 7 o'clock Central. Lots of, I'm sure we'll pause a little bit because the contest probably runs right up until the time we start. But that's okay. Everyone will be exhausted that was in the contest, and we'll have it all to ourselves. But you're welcome to join us there. Also, find your people. It's important. My family used to say, you got to find your people, you weirdo. You damn it. Get out of here. You go find your people. So apparently my family was not always my people, but just speaking in terms of amateur radio folks, we're on Facebook here, 100 Watts and a Wire, and on Discord. The links are provided in the video below. Anything else? Did we miss anything else? We must welcome Ed. Ed is here, and his first time, his name is Ed Abuls. Kilo Charlie 3, Bravo, X-Ray, November. He's a little selfish. Well, not. Steve.
Bitch.
Oops. Jeez. Hey, we didn't see the curse words. Don't care. I think we could actually just keep going. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the support and coming here this week. It's a great part of our morning and our weekend to kick off. We end the weekend together as well on the live stream. All your favorites are here. Uncle Paul, Etta Bulls will be here. I'll be here. Steve-O will be here. Big Don in Minnesota with the coldest nuts in the land. And
cold nut Don.
Cold nut Don. Cold nut. It's just they both. I'll explain it to you later. I'll have to go to HR and talk about that. All right, brothers and sisters, may the dogs run by your side, and by all means, if you can, please try and stay above the noise. 73 to you, and you, and you, and you.
7-3, everyone. Thanks
7-3,
for being
everybody.
To join the 100 Watts and a Wire community, visit 100wattsandawire.com.